All right, let's talk about something called pragmatic magic. Now, before your mind goes to wizards and wands, I want you to think about it a little differently. Think of it more like a technology of the mind, a kind of user's guide for how our own consciousness might just be able to influence the world around us.
And yeah, that word magic. It's got a lot of baggage, right? It's loaded with skepticism, mystery, but also, a little bit of wonder. So this isn't about asking you to believe in anything blindly. It's about exploring a specific model for how personal change can happen, one that has fascinated some pretty sharp people for a long, long time.
So check this out. On the left, you've got this really famous classic definition from Aleister Crowley. It's pretty straightforward. But look at the one on the right. The pragmatic version adds one tiny but absolutely crucial phrase, using states of altered consciousness. That's not just a small edit, that's the whole game. It shifts magic from being some mysterious external power to an internal psychological technique.
Okay, so if altered states are the how, what's actually powering this thing? What's under the hood? Well, the system breaks it down into three core parts: your will, your imagination, and your ability to enter a trance. And the key thing here is, these aren't some kind of supernatural gifts. They're abilities that every single one of us already has. This really shows how it's all about balance. This isn't just about floating around in a world of creative chaos. It's a real discipline that tries to get both halves of your brain working together. You've got the art side, that's your imagination, your intuition, your big visions. But you absolutely need the science side too. That's your will, your focus, your logic and structure. You need both the blueprint and the vision to actually build something that stands up.
And that special trance state, it has a name: Gnosis. Now, this is super important. This is not about zoning out or losing control. It's actually the complete opposite. Gnosis is a state of intense, single-pointed focus. You're so focused on one thing that the little voice in your head, your inner critic, your rational censor, it just goes quiet for a second. And that's the moment, that's the window where you can plant a new idea directly into your subconscious.
So let's just put it all together. The core formula is pretty simple, really. You take your will, your clear, focused goal. You use your imagination to translate that goal into a language the subconscious gets: symbols, feelings, pictures. And then you use trance, or gnosis, as the delivery truck to get that package where it needs to go. So that's the theory. But how do you actually do it?
Okay, enough with the theory, right? Let's get our hands dirty with one of the most basic, fundamental, and frankly, coolest techniques in pragmatic magic: creating a sigil. This is a brilliant little piece of psychological tech that's designed to do exactly what we've been talking about.
So what the heck is a sigil? Think of it like a compressed file, a zip file for your intention. You take a sentence that states what you want and you distill it down into a totally abstract symbol. The whole point is to create a command that your deep mind can act on, but that your conscious mind won't recognize and immediately start picking apart.
I absolutely love this metaphor. Just think about it. Your conscious mind, with all its doubt and anxiety and, oh, that'll never work, that's the palace guard. Its job is to stop anything weird from getting through. A sigil is like your intention wearing a fake mustache and a trench coat. It's a disguised package that the guard just kind of shrugs at and waves right on by.
And the process itself is surprisingly simple, almost like a recipe. First, you write down exactly what you want. Be clear. Then, you just systematically destroy the sentence's meaning. You cross out all the vowels, and you cross out any letter that repeats. What you're left with is just a jumble of unique consonants. Then comes the fun part. You mash those letters together, you overlay them, you get creative, and you form a single, weird-looking symbol. Once you have it, you charge it, you stare at it, pour all your focus into it while you're in that state of gnosis. And then, and this is key, you forget it. You banish it. Laughter, of all things, is a fantastic way to just snap out of it and let it go. Now, this is the really weird part, and honestly, it's often the hardest step. You have to let it go. You have to consciously forget what the sigil even means. Why? Because it stops your conscious mind, that palace guard, from messing with it. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every 5 minutes to check if it's growing, right? You plant it, you trust the process, and you let the subconscious do its work without you hovering over its shoulder.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Because once you get the basic mechanics down, the system opens up into something way, way bigger. What if the reason magic works isn't a single fixed truth, but a set of optional operating systems that you can switch between? This is where we get into what's called the reality dance.
So what is a paradigm in this context? It's not a religion. It's not a dogma you have to defend for the rest of your life. Think of it like a pair of glasses or a software program. It's a tool, a model of reality that you choose to use because it's the most effective one for the job at hand. Let's look at the 4 big ones.
First up, you've got the oldest one in the book, the spirit model. This is the paradigm of shamans and most ancient religions. You operate as if the world is populated by invisible intelligences. You can call them spirits, gods, ancestors, whatever. Your job, then, is to learn how to communicate, negotiate, or even command these forces. Next up is the energy model. If the spirit model is like diplomacy, this one is more like esoteric physics. You're not dealing with personalities anymore. You're dealing with flows and fields of energy, like chi or prana. The magician here is like a living conduit, learning to feel these currents, store them up, and direct them where they need to go.
Then we've got the psychological model, which brings everything indoors, right into your own head. In this view, there are no spirits out there. They're complexes in your own subconscious. Rituals become a powerful form of psychodrama designed to reprogram your own internal software. That sigil we just talked about, that is pure psychological model in action.
And finally, we get to the most modern one, the information model. Think of this one as cyber magic. If reality is a simulation, then the magician is a hacker. You're not trying to manipulate the energy on the screen. You're trying to get into the source code, to tweak the informational blueprint that tells reality how to behave in the first place. And here is the real master key. The power isn't in arguing about which of these models is true. A pragmatic magician doesn't care. They ask, which model is most useful right now? For one task, you might put on your spirit model glasses. For another, you might use the psychological model. Belief itself stops being a cage and starts being a tool. It becomes a choice.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is all a little out there. It sounds pretty intense. So how does someone explore these kinds of extreme states of mind without, completely losing their grip on reality? The source gives one final and maybe most important piece of advice.
You heard that right. Forget the wizard in the ivory tower. The best way to stay stable while doing this stuff, according to this system, is to have a regular job, to be part of the everyday world. It's so brilliantly counterintuitive.
It really comes down to this essential contrast. On one hand, you've got the magical world, which is all about fluid states, deep consciousness, and ritual. But that has to be balanced by the everyday world. Things like deadlines, social commitments, paying rent. That's your anchor. That's the solid ground you always come back to, the thing that keeps you from just floating away.
And this leads to this amazing paradox. The people who are often the most successful and effective at this practice are the ones who are also the most functional in their normal lives. Having a stable, conventional life doesn't get in the way of this kind of work. It's the very foundation that makes it safe and possible to begin with.
Which really just leaves us with one last big thought. If all these models of reality are flexible, if your own belief is just a tool in your toolbox that you can pick up and put down at will, then the real power here isn't about casting spells. It's about taking full responsibility for the reality you choose to experience and create. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?